Anyway, guys, today I'm talking about this is why Andrew Tate will never be released. I'm not saying he'll never ever be released from prison, but just not anytime soon. So what's happening here is that Andrew Tate, this whole thing has started back like last April in 2022. There was an investigation saying that he had kept some girl or girls hostage in his mansion and one of his compounds, and ultimately they raided them. He was detained for a little while, him and Tristan, and then they were released. And this investigation has been going on for almost a year now. But the thing is that they have no evidence whatsoever. There were two girls who claimed that they were being held against their will. There's CCTV footage basically showing that these girls were coming and going and enjoying shopping sprees and a variety of other things. They're claiming that Andrew and Tristan used the lover boy method, basically telling these girls that they love them and that they wanted to have a relationship with them and brainwash these girls. A number of women have actually come forward and said that's not true. And instead, the judge is now telling them that they were brainwashed based on the findings of a psychiatrist or psychologist. I think it was a psychiatrist who evidently spoke to the girls. He's saying that they were brainwashed by Andrew and Tristan. They're making these guys out to be these great masterminds, and it's all a lot of bullcrap. As you can see, they've already confiscated tons of their assets. They're trying to seize their cryptocurrency in every country. They're trying to seize any assets they have in every single country. These guys are supposedly worth anywhere from 100 million to $1 billion. I think it's really close to about $100 million, and they want to seize every penny of the month, every penny that these guys have, and say that it's going to be used towards paying for the investigation and compensating the victims of this. I've never heard of anything this in my entire life where basically if someone's worth, you take away all the money someone has and say that you're going to use it to pay for an investigation. Like there's no such thing. Like you usually have an amount. Usually say that you're going to fine them for a certain amount, but no, they're just taking every. They're trying to seize everything. They're even trying to take away evidently Andrew and Tristan's the house that they bought for their mother. They're trying to seize their Bugatti that's currently in Dubai. They're trying to seize. They've already seized tons of their cryptocurrency, and they're trying to seize more off exchanges. I mean, they're trying to take any assets that they have, any property, everything, and leave these guys broke, they'll never get this money back. And what's really ultimately going to happen is they're going to keep these guys in jail for the full 6 months because they can keep them for up to 180 days without being charged. After 180 days, they will likely charge these guys on bogus charges, saying that they're going to use this. They're going to use the charges that they have, the evidence that they have from the girls making these claims, to bring them to trial. The trial can take it can take anywhere from 6 months to a year before this thing goes to trial, based on my understanding. Although I suspect it can go longer. The lawyer that they hired from the United States, personally, I don't know if she's such a great lawyer because I think she represented like R. Kelly, and he's like serving 30 years right now, and they already gave him like another 5 years. So, I mean, I don't know how good she actually is, but she seems like a decent person. But I don't know if her track record is all that great. But anyway, it's the way that things are headed right now is they're going to keep them for the full 6 months, or and then they're going to charge them, or they'll charge them before that. But it looks like they're going to go the full 6 months and then charge them with something at the end of that, based up probably on money laundering and sex trafficking. Even though they don't have any actual evidence, they're going to basically say try to use anything that they had online. And keep in mind, in Romania, you don't have to go before a jury; you just have to go before a judge. As you can see, they've been keeping them locked up in jail with no evidence whatsoever, and their appeals have been denied countless times. The girls in the case, they initially said they were going to release them on house arrest, and then the prosecutor appealed that, and they were sent back to, and he was successful, and they were sent back to jail. So those girls are went straight back to jail. I don't know if they were ever released. So this is the situation that we're looking at. They plan to keep those guys in jail indefinitely, and then put them on trial, and they'll likely be found guilty because again, in Romania, you don't go before a jury, you go before a judge, and it's a corrupt society. Romania is a corrupt country, and then they'll likely and then they can throw the book at them, and they can have them in jail for many years. They can appeal all they want, but there is no justice in Romania. And Andrew talked about this. He believed that he could bribe his way through everything, but he's learning a lesson right now. It's a corrupt country, and in the end, they can just say, "Screw it, we'll just take everything." We won't have to play by any rules. We'll break the rules, and we'll take whatever we want, and we'll do it that way. And now he's experiencing that for himself, and one of the reasons why they're going after him is because of the global elites. Andrew Tate was the most searched man on the internet, which essentially made him, for a moment, the most famous man in the world. I mean, there were more people looking up Andrew Tate than Michael Jackson. Andrew Tate reached a point in time where he could literally affect elections in various countries. He could affect the next American election. When we look at the whole COVID that happened in the U.S., I still believe that a lot of that had to do with the presidential election and mail-in ballots. If those mail-in ballots never happened, I don't think that Biden would be in office right now. But that's just me, and I truly believe that they're looking at, what can they do for the next election to manipulate it. And when you think about Andrew Tate can change an election. He can literally change an election, and not just in the United States, but in a variety of other countries. He can also rally men in other countries, and that's one of the most dangerous things because, men can basically overthrow a system. That's what countries want: men who are asleep, men who are passive, men who are fat, and men who are obedient. Because if men wake up, if men say no, we're not going to tolerate this, if men become unruly, then everything goes out the window. They just take over. They throw governments out, and they take what they want, and that's pretty much it. This system that we have in the United States. Let's just make it clear: the Second Amendment exists not to protect ourselves from one another. The Second Amendment exists to protect ourselves from the government, and it's basically there so that if the government ever becomes so tyrannical, then then the people are expected to go and basically, deal with the government and kick the old people out and install some new people and install a new system of government, update the system. And that's the reason why they want men complacent. That's why they want men fat. That's why they want men to cry, because they don't want men strong. If men are strong, then men can stand up to a tyrannical government. You know, when they say, don't ask what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. They're trying to make it sound like, what you can do for your government. This isn't correct. The government is an administrator. The government is an administrator. The government is not the country. I remember when Jimmy Kimmel was saying, people, he was criticizing conservatives, saying that conservatives are all pro America. So why is it that they don't want to do as they're told by their government and take the jab? And that's absolute nonsense. The government is not the country, and this is what they want you to believe. They want you to believe to be a good American, you need to obey your government. That's absolute nonsense. That is tyranny right there. That is essentially the definition of tyranny, where you have tyrants masquerading as tyrants masquerading as as a as your as people that you should trust. I mean, it's absolute nonsense. But when it comes to Andrew, yeah, they're not going to release him anytime soon. I don't believe that he's going to release anytime soon. The best possible thing that could happen would be house release, and I don't know if that's going to happen. Honestly, I think they're going to really keep him for the full 6 months, and then charge him, or they're going to charge him slightly before that, maybe after 4 or 5 months. But that's pretty much where things are going. They'll try to push out the trial for as long as they can. When it does go to trial, he will be found guilty by a judge, and him and Tristan will be sentenced to long periods in jail. They'll be found guilty of trafficking, of human trafficking. They'll be found guilty of money laundering, even though there's no evidence. And they'll attempt to take all of their money that way. Everything. They'll go after everything. He owns a bank. They'll seize the bank and take everything from the bank. They will try to, and the United States is not helping them. They've already tried to get help from the U.S. Embassy. The U.S. Embassy has not responded. They're not helping. They will not provide any help for Andrew. So this is the situation that we're looking at, and that is my prediction of the future. And people seem to be like saying constantly, Andrew's going to get out of jail soon. No, they're delusional. They're absolutely delusional. This was a plan. Was completely planned. There's the government, and then there are people above the government who rule the government, and he pissed off the people who rule the government. He pissed off the deep state, and they're afraid of him, and they'll do whatever it takes. He talked about this. First they try to discredit you, then they throw you in jail, and then they unalive you. And that's really where things are going at this point. But anyway, let me know what you think about what I had to say regarding Andrew Tate and what's going to happen with him. This is why I believe he will never be released anytime soon. Let me know if you agree with my analysis. If you like the video, please go ahead and hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, which is men walking away and shit.